Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe, and I wanted to do a quick video on my impressions of The Division and Destiny now that I've played both for a good period of time. I recently have stopped playing, well, not recently anymore, now it's got to be a couple months easy, but I stopped playing Destiny because I felt like I'd be playing for a few hours with friends, we'd get really into it, and then at the end of the night, Beth would say to me, "So, did you get anything cool in the game? Did you beat anything interesting or see anything cool?" And I'd be like, "Nope." And she's like, "What do you mean? You played for like 3 hours." And I would be like, "We played for 3 hours, I got nothing to raise my light level and no better weapons." And then I realized, like, it felt like that a lot of the time for me. I was at a point where, I think they had raised the level cap, I forget what it was last I left off, but I was max at that. But I was trying to raise my light level so that I could, you know, do the raid a little more proficiently, or do it at all. I don't even know if I've never even done it, actually. I've never done the first raid and the last raid. I went into both of them and did part of them each, but never the full thing. Anyhow, so Destiny felt like an extreme grind with very little to no payout almost all the time, and that was a real bummer because the game I really like. You know, I like the whole space shooter. I like first-person shooters. I enjoyed it for months and months and months and months, and it really got me back into playing again when I was kind of down and, like, you know, had a lot going on in my life. So I liked the game a lot. I also didn't like how certain things were time-based. So, like Xur, the guy who comes every week, you know, if you miss him and he has something really good, there's no other way to buy the weapon or buy the item that he has. So stuff like that was pissing me off. And I just felt like it was really, you know, a lot of work for no payoff, so to speak. The Division is pretty graphically in its own way, where it's not so, like, shiny and, you know, space opera-ish or whatever you want to call it, and, like, you know, over the top with crazy laser beams and shit. It's more, you know, it's post-apocalyptic. It's kind of screwed up looking. It's got a darkness to it. I feel like the humor in the game is too lighthearted still, but the game itself looks pretty cool. And I think that in its infancy, it's hitting it. It's just got to really darken the tone and add some more variables in terms of locations, enemies, maybe weapon type, or something like that. They are doing a patch on the 12th, which is going to drop better gear from named, which is like bosses, named bad guys. So that's pretty cool. They're also lowering some of the other things, that making it more attainable for other people to get certain weapons or certain gear, but they're raising other ones to where they're making like a new level of weapons and gear. So I'm hoping it doesn't turn into Destiny 2.0. We'll see what happens. But so far, and this could just be because I put a lot less, well, I don't know if it's a lot less time, but I put less time into the Division because it hasn't been out as long. I'm enjoying the Division more. I don't know if it's because I feel like after a few hours or even an hour, I've accomplished something, where with Destiny I felt like I'd be getting things over and over and just accomplish nothing. So it was kind of a weird point I was at in Destiny. And if the Division reaches that point where I feel like I'm putting in 2-3 hours and getting nothing, then I'll probably feel the same way. But so far I really like it, and one of the things I really like a lot, which I wasn't sure if I was going to like, because I'm not a fan of PvP or, you know, killing other players, excuse me, is the Dark Zone. And the Dark Zone is like a place you can go and you can fight NPCs and get better gear, find like treasure chests, so to speak. They're more like crates, and team up with buddies and either take out other players and steal their stuff, or they can do that to you, or kind of work with other people in like a loose truce and go in, get stuff from the bad guys or whatever you find, and then extract it with a helicopter, but you're vulnerable while you're extracting it because you're attaching it to like this helicopter rope and they can kill you. So I kind of pop in there with friends, you know, and we'll go through, kill the bad guys, extract some stuff, and I'll always end up with something that's even usually a little better than what I have, or something I can break down into something else I can use. So far the payout portion of it feels better in Destiny, but I'm also probably not as far along or haven't invested as much time. I also really like the seamlessness of Destiny, where the only time it really loads is sometimes in between, like, certain stories. Like if you're going up in an elevator, it'll load, or if you fast travel from one location to the next, there is a bit of a wait time. But otherwise, the game is fairly seamless. Like you'll walk into base, there's no loading. You walk out of base, you walk into a mission, you know, whatever. There's not much loading. If you're not switching groups or fast traveling, there's really no loading besides the initial load into the game. God, I think it's the weather. My throat's kind of off today. Where I felt like Destiny was little chunks of a world. Like they were giving you each little chunk, and you'd have to kind of warp to each one, and then you couldn't get out of that kind of zone. And the Division feels like it is bigger, and that you're able to actually just travel in between, and it's really cool. I like that a lot. So far, I like the Division better, but I'm also not much of like a futuristic type of person. I like cyberpunk stuff, Blade Runner and The Matrix and Johnny Mnemonic and, you know, Nirvana and Avalon and all that type of setting. Destiny was kind of more like Halo-ish, which isn't my bag. I'm not like a fan of like Star Wars or space shooters. The Division is post-apocalyptic, which I love, like The Road Warrior, Mad Max, and you know, all those types of movies where the world ends. Not like the new ones with like Will Smith and Tom Cruise, but like the older stuff, you know, Omega Man. So I do like looking at like decrepit New York City, as weird as that sounds. I do like looking at decrepit New York City and like see gangs of, you know, people strolling down the street looking, you know, to kill someone and rob them or whatever. It just has a cool vibe. When you play, especially in the Dark Zone, you have this feeling of, I can get killed at any time. So like you have a little bit of a rush to it, but you're also having a lot of fun like buddying up with people and taking down like strong computer opponents, and you know, then working, like having, like I said, loose truces with other people and extracting items and stuff. And you for the most part, I would say maybe 7 or 8 out of 10 times you will extract an item and you won't get killed. I've only gotten killed like randomly twice. For the most part, I'm able to extract. I messed around a little bit, like shot people, or like this one guy took my stuff after I died from a computer, so I ran after him and shot him a little bit, and then he like wiped me out, because I'm not really like that great at the game, and my character is okay. You know, he's pretty good at killing computer opponents, but he's not like crazy high end. You know, I have a couple hours a night to play, you gotta keep that in mind, or a couple hours a week even. Usually Monday through Friday I don't play, and if I do, it's like an hour. Where other people, especially I would say younger people, which is usually the case because they talk the most shit, they play, you know, every day for hours and hours and hours, and now they have the best stuff and the highest guns and this and that. So stuff like that will always happen. But I really like the teamwork aspect of it too. I feel like it's a lot of teamwork. So I would say my nod thus far goes to the Division, and you're going to get a lot of people comparing the two because they are, you know, quasi MMO or multiplayer online games with a shooting element, though the Division is third person and Destiny is first person, of course. So overall, I'm having a lot of fun with the Division, and I'm hoping it lasts, and I'm hoping that this patch on the 12th that adds all new stuff and, you know, a new like sort of raid or whatever you want to call it, I'm hoping that really adds to the fun and doesn't become a slog like Destiny. So thanks guys for watching. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.